Hi, I'm Heather Schwartz. I'm here with historian and teacher Scott Powell, and we're the co founders of Knowable World. So, this coming year, 2024 and 25, for the very first time, Knowable World will include a live history program for grades 3 to 12. Scott has been teaching these classes to homeschooled students for nearly 20 years as History at Our House. And my kids have been students of history at our house for a number of years now. And now they're going to be the same classes offered through Knowable World. And so we're going to talk in this video about how testing works in these live classes. So we're going to talk about the pedagogical or theoretical perspective on why we do the testing this way. And we're also going to be talking about it from a practical perspective for you as a parent and for your student. So this video is specifically about how testing is going to be done at the junior and senior high levels. So if you have an elementary student, you can go to our YouTube channel to find the video about the elementary levels. This one is about junior and senior high. So first of all, Scott, what is the distinction between junior and senior high in these classes?
So the basic answer is that students in the 8th and ninth grade are considered junior high students for Knowable World purposes, and obviously 10th to 12th grade are high school students. The breakdown works that way because the Knowable World program operates on a 3-year curriculum rotation. So if you are using the program at the high school level for 3 years, you've gone through the entire high school curriculum. In relation to high school, obviously, the junior high level is a preparatory phase. Some students move through it relatively quickly by doing 8th and ninth grade work with ease and then move right up to the high school. Others might be best served doing an extra year of junior high work and only doing 2 years of what is strictly high school level work in this program.
Right. And so let's talk about how those levels work in greater detail for each level and how testing works for them. So let's start with the junior high level. Because students are in the same class for junior and senior high. They're seeing the same lectures, the same material, the same content at the same time. And so they have the same testing schedule. So what that means is that the school year is broken up into 5 units of about 6 to 8 weeks of lessons in each unit. And at the end of each unit is the test.
That's right. And it's something that students are made aware of early on and for which they are helped to prepare along the way. The main way we rehearse the material in preparation for the testing phase is by constructing a timeline of anchor facts during the teaching of the unit. This is definitely not the type of rote memorization work students have long been expected to tolerate in public school. In Knowable World, students are taught that in order for history to help us better understand the world we live in, we must learn to focus on the facts that matter most. In the approach to history that I advocate, which is called present centrism, these facts are known as anchor facts. This does not relieve them of the need to memorize historical anchor facts, but it does make the process much more sensible and manageable.
Right. Yeah. And so throughout each unit, the students are building an anchor fact timeline of the facts that they need to remember. And they practice creating that timeline in class every week. And they know that it's going to be on the test.
Right. And as they do that work, they know that the memorization they're being asked to perform is not a trick or a crutch or a substitute for real learning, but rather a part of the learning process. The better they are able to recall those facts, the better they are able to discuss and understand the material. So, as to the procedural side of things, as the unit comes to a close and the anchor fact timeline is finalized, the students are advised that the test is approaching and what the procedure for completing the relevant work will be.
Right. So at the junior high level, it's good for parents to make sure that the class notes are printed out and that the students are reviewing them. So there's a set of junior high class notes with every few lectures. In a unit, you're going to get about 10 to 15 pages that need to be printed and reviewed for the test prep.
Right. Then, as the unit ends, the junior high test preparation sheets, as they are called, are distributed via the class webpage. This is a homework exercise. The students must complete an anchor fact timeline and then answer a handful of questions that require full sentence answers, usually about 3 to 6 sentences long. And that's all on the material that revolves around those very anchor facts. The homework exercise is 4 typed pages long, including the timeline segment. And they have 5 days to do it. So typically, what happens is the testing segment begins on a Wednesday when the unit ends. And the homework sheets are distributed via the class webpage. And then the students have until the Monday of the next week to do that homework.
Right. So, what the students are advised to do for the homework exercise is to find the answers in the class notes and then write them in their own words. So, younger students do this, and older students are not immune to thinking that they just know the answer and wanting to write it down without looking. But it's a very important part of this exercise that they look for the answer in the notes to check that it's right before writing it down.
Absolutely. In fact, older students might be even more prone to falling into the trap of thinking they know something that they don't really know that well. I see that problem regularly. And they just have to learn to discipline themselves about being intellectually honest. Test preparation is a really good exercise in that regard. It forces them to properly assess what they know and don't know. And when they present their answers in class and face the scrutiny of Mr. Powell, then they can see that clearly. They get constructive criticism from me, and they know exactly where they stand with regard to the material. So at that point, they're ready for the final phase of studying as they see fit, and the tests are distributed via the class webpage for the parents to implement as they see fit.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do the parents and the students need to know about the formatting of the tests?
Okay, so the test resembles the test prep sheets very closely, and that's done on purpose. Students know what the test will be like going in. They don't have to worry that there will be some kind of unpleasant surprise. The format is exactly the same as the homework they did. The topics are also the same, but the questions are modified so that they have to think of the answers anew and deploy their knowledge and understanding in a new way. Finally, with regard to grading, a grading key is provided for parents at the junior high students. Um, Finally, with regard to grading, a grading key is provided for parents of junior high students to use in grading their work. This should be done strictly in order to get the most benefit from the test.
Right. Okay, so this is how the testing works for the junior high level. So before we move on to high school level testing, can you explain what choices the parents have around how to do these tests? What's optional and what's required? What do you recommend? Because I know that for most homeschoolers, and myself included, one of our core values about homeschooling is that we can adapt things. We have the flexibility to meet the needs of our individual child. And so, what kinds of flexibility do we have in terms of the different ways that testing can be done?
Okay, so for starters, you can choose not to do the testing. You can choose that option. You can also choose to have your children do the test prep sheets, but not the test. You can even choose to have your children not do the test prep homework. So I think that these approaches severely limit the benefit that the students can derive from the work, but it might be the right choice in some cases. If students are being supported in doing the test prep, though, then we also recommend that it be followed up with an actual test at the junior high level. This is the best way to know what it is they've actually understood. What we advise is that the test should be done as a closed book exercise with parental supervision. No time limit is imposed, but it should be done in one sitting. Parents can choose to do it this way or to break it up. They can choose to do it closed book or open book. They can choose to have the students write the answer or simply do it orally. There are really many ways it can be done. Either way, I provide an answer key so you can know exactly what the answers are. And again, you can grade the test using the key in a strict manner, or you can adapt it in some way as you see fit. You don't even have to grade the test formally.
Right. And I think it's important to emphasize that these are all choices that you get to make with every test. So you can start one way when your student is just starting junior high and getting used to it, and then you can adapt that as they get used to the process, as they gain skills in writing, as they're their needs change and as you see fit. You can gradually dial up the level of difficulty and challenge over time.
Definitely. And the junior high is a great way to get to work your way up to that standard of work that is needed in order to meet the high school requirements. It's probably something that you have to do gradually, starting with in 8th grade, when it will be difficult at first. And then gradually, as they progress, it becomes easier and easier.
Right. Okay, so now what about the high school level?
So the students in the high school level are part of everything I just mentioned. They have access to all the same materials, and they are encouraged to work through the test prep sheets as well, even though they are technically labeled as a junior high test prep sheets. It might not surprise anyone to know that high school students, especially those that have been through the junior high, usually do the test prep work and do a good job of it because they are accustomed to it and they know how valuable a study tool the test prep is. But they're also instructed from the very beginning of the year that they need to take their own notes and that they will be expected to be able to answer questions about the material that are not covered in the junior high notes. So that can be something as specific as an anchor fact or set of anchor facts, or it can be a short segment of material that I indicate to them is going to be tested at the high school level exclusively. Or sometimes we have a more advanced or off the cuff discussion that it is something that I don't expect the junior high students to remember and be tested on. So, as each unit progresses, high school students are being prepared for the more advanced tests they will face. Then, as I said, they are invited to do the junior high test prep work if they want to, and usually they do. The real difference is when it comes to the test. High school tests are 5 pages, not 4. The final page is a one-page essay question in which they must demonstrate a comprehensive grasp of the unit. Procedurally, the key is that high school tests for students in the live program have to be done in a certain way, and they have to be submitted to me for grading. They have to be a closed book written exercise done in one sitting, supervised by the parents, and they are scanned and submitted to me via email. I grade them, and the grades of the 5 tests are combined into the final grade for the year for students in the high school. There is no other option if you want your student to be counted as a Knowable World graduate, to receive a transcript and to be eligible to receive a letter of recommendation from me at the end of the year or end of the high school career for college or job applications. This option is only available for students who are taking the live program. Now, it's also possible for students to attend the high school program live as auditors or via recordings. But if you choose either of those options, then your student's attendance is considered informal. And you have to figure out for yourself as a parent how you are going to account for their schoolwork in the end. Students who work their way up through the junior high class and do the high school testing are the ones that excel later. They are the ones that college professors ask, how do you know that? Because they can't believe high school students can actually know history that well these days.
Exactly. And ultimately, the goal that we're working towards at Knowable World is for students to know history. And it's about that lasting and powerful knowledge. And our high school graduates are the proof of the value of our testing approach. So we hope that you found this video instructive, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you still have about testing. Just send them our way in the comments of the video or by email. Thanks for watching. Bye.